Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sports. I am Ralph LaBella.
And I'm Ron Sen. Usually when we're talking about sports, we're talking about comings and goings, but recently it looks like we're only talking about goings. Tom Brady is out of Brookline into Greenwich, Connecticut. He's probably the poorest person in Greenwich, Connecticut, and we'll see what happens. Remains to be seen whether Brady's going to be a member of the Patriots, maybe Las Vegas, maybe Los Angeles. Who knows? Maybe even Chicago. What do you think, Ralph?
If the Patriots want him, he'll be back. That's for sure. McDaniels will still be there. They get their offensive line to be a lot tighter as long as they sign Tooney. They'll have Andrews back. They'll have Devlin back. They'll have their kicker back. We all know what they need. They need a top-notch tight end and a top-notch receiver. If they get those two things, then they'll be back as one of the favorites.
Well, they have $30 million of cap room right now. Not to say that other players won't leave.
Yeah, but that's not counting Tooney though, right?
No, right. But, Tooney, we're talking probably $14-15 million a year. And then if Brady were to come back, it'd be even more. So I don't see that as really a possibility. But, we'll see. What percentage chance do you think it is that Brady will be back here?
I'd say 90%.
Wow, I was thinking about 40.
If he doesn't retire, it's 90% he'll be back.
Well, we'll see. The problem is, one of the problems is everyone talks about he's not on the same page as the receivers. Well, if you don't go to the passing camps, you don't go to the off-season workouts because you've earned that right by 6 Super Bowls in 20 years, whatever, then how are you going to be better? I guess it's, how can you get on the same page with guys if you're not going to be working with them on a regular basis?
Right, and they're going to have to get a real good tight end. Tight end who can block, go downfield, catch passes, catch big passes, and they got to get a receiver who can go downfield. Right now these teams had no pressure on them. Basically, they even have to have their. If you looked against the Patriots, when they did a cover 2 compared to the Patriots cover 2, they're like 8 yards closer to the line of scrimmage. And you can't spread the field, but you get a real good receiver who can go downfield like one of those Alabama or LSU receivers. If you can get one of them.
Well, hard to believe, but Tom Brady really belongs on the second page because, as we all know in baseball, the players are the product. That means it's very easy to change the manager. And years ago, I wrote about cheating in baseball in the Boston Dirt Dog site. And if we think about it, cheating is not new. You had high spikes back in the old days. You had the spitball, grease ball, John Wyatt sliding into home plate and a tube of Vaseline falling out of his pocket. Then we had cork bats. We had balls that were put in a freezer in Colorado. We have PEDs. And now we've gone from equipment adjustments and player adjustments to technology adjustments. And we lost the third manager today, Carlos Beltran, former Astro, former Yankee. And my prediction is after the next domino is not Houston, the Red Sox, or the Mets, but the Yankees.
Yeah, what they should do, one rule they should have is the only way you can steal a sign from a catcher is a base runner. And they should have what the penalty is if they find out, especially what Houston did, what they think the Sox did, but they're not sure about that anymore. That's the only way you should be able to steal a sign from a catcher. The coaches' signs, their signals, it doesn't really matter.
Well, we know that more than a few teams are involved because even when there's no runner on second, most teams will go through a series of signs now because they're concerned about the center field camera. So if there's no issue with most of the teams, why do all the teams camouflage their signs from the center field camera? So it's no great surprise at all. It's just, and that there's other technologies that could use, the catcher and the pitcher could communicate with some kind of, wireless microphone system built into the mask, and into the pitcher could have some Bluetooth earphone. There's always some way they could do it if it's so important, but it'll be really interesting to see what happens. Red Sox executive Sam Kennedy said, parting ways with Cora was a mutual decision. Yeah, sure it was. The Red Sox put out the plank and got Cora to walk it. But they had no choice. It wasn't like they did something great. They got rid of Cora because they knew he was going to be suspended anyway.
Yeah, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it helps Cora that they fired him
Okay.
because he's going to get paid.
All right. Well, that's a good thing.
If they fire him, what I hear, he's going to get the 1.2 million. If he got suspended, he doesn't get paid.
Okay.
So you got the firing and then the suspension after that. So the way it looks like is, that, again, he's going to get the pay. He's going to get paid. And again, if they were suspended him before the Red Sox fired him, he may not get paid. Now the Houston manager, he
Yeah.
got suspended first.
Yeah, Hinch got suspended, then he got fired. The general manager got fired, Jeff Luhnow, who's one of the stars in a relatively new book called Astro Ball. It's about the rise of the Astros and how they were able to build a championship team from nothing. Now, what hurts the Astros is they're going to forget the $5 million. They can afford that, but they lose their first and second round draft choice for 2 years, which
Yeah.
that's kind of a big deal. Not that the Red Sox ever had anybody whose first or second round draft choice did anything. So we'll see. Here's my solution. Dustin Pedroia, $13 million a year for the next 2 years. Get him to retire, then hire him as the manager. Give him a 6-year contract at $5 million a season, so he gets his money. Maybe they can get his pay off the salary cap, and everybody's happy, except Major League Baseball will probably say you're cheating the system.
I think the perfect manager, I don't know if they'll do it because he's basically, sometimes he's a critic of the players, Lou Maloney. I think he knows the game really well. You just listen to him every night when he talks about the game, he talks about the manager's moves. He really understands the game. I'd love to see him get it. I think it'd be, and a lot of the fans would like to see that too.
Yeah, I have no idea. My guess is that Chaim Bloom probably has some executive with Tampa whom he's familiar with that he would bring in as an outsider, no stink on him, and then he has a working relationship with that guy. I have no idea who that would be, but that's going to be my guess. Other than that, the Red Sox still have a lot of other issues. It's not like their lineup is set. They haven't spent any money. The question that I'm not sure if it was Shaughnessy or somebody else raised is that now with this scandal, where they back away from their trying to reset the luxury tax, because if they really have a terrible season, play sub 500, have no new talent, the fans would probably be crazed.
I mean, it comes down to Seal, Price, and Evaldi. If all three of them are healthy, they're going to have a real good year because they have one of the best hitting teams in the league. Defensively, second base, they're really weak since Pedroia got hurt. I mean, none of those guys can. I'm just watching balls go to the right field.
I mean, to me, if you put the over-under on starts on any of those guys, I mean, I'm sure they have prop bets like this on Vegas. I would bet 20 probably. If you said none of them make 20 starts for the Red Sox, the only pitcher you probably can count on is Erod because he's younger and hasn't blown out his arm yet.
And then you look at their bullpen. Their bullpen is deep. They don't have that stud closer, but last year they did a really good job. And again, they have a deep bullpen. If one of them comes through as a real good closer, you got that, and then the pitching if they're healthy.
Well, Workman was outstanding. Barnes was fine until he got overused. You can't be pitching these relief pitchers 16 games a month. And then Hembry got hurt because he was getting used too much. So is
the younger guys were good too.
Yeah. I mean, Taylor was very good, the lefty. So, but you can't be pitching 5 innings of relief every day because the theory is you want to have your starters throw a lot of innings because they're your best pitchers. And then we don't know about this Martin Perez acquisition. Obviously, they think he's underachieved and that he can do more. We'll see, but they don't really have a first baseman right now. They don't have a second baseman right now.
You look at that team, right? Catcher, short, third.
Right.
Left, center and away defensively, but right, in DH, they're as good as any team in those positions.
Right.
The first base and second base, center field, Well,
they
Bradley, with his hitting,
They said Benintendi tried to bulk up too much to hit home runs, and he couldn't make contact. He just
you still have to count on him. He's talented, and I would still count on him as being one of the better left fielders in baseball. You have the best right fielder in baseball. Defensively, Bradley, maybe 1 month he's really good, and the rest of the time he struggles hitting.
I think it would be really hard for them to trade Mookie Betts right now in the wake of this scandal, because then it really just looks like they're just giving up for the whole season.
What did he get, $27 million?
Yeah, not so bad.
Not so bad, and he's going to be getting probably $35 million after this year.
Well, my son Connor always said a guy like Betts or Trout should just sign a year at a time. Say, I'll take $50 million for a year. So you don't have to worry about me getting hurt. You don't have to worry about the long term. And next year I'll be on the free agent market again.
Yeah. Do they still have Moreland, or did he leave?
No, he left. He's a free agent.
So who are they going to use at first now?
The question is whether
Chavis?
Chavis or Bobby Dahlbeck, who's kind of a power hitter who strikes out a lot.
Well, that's Chavis's game.
Right.
He's a power hitter. He may work out at first.
The problem is, since Pedroia hasn't played second, there's a huge
It's been
void.
bad.
Yeah.
People don't talk about it enough, but nothing got by Pedroia, and you're seeing balls go to the left and right of these second basemen.
Right, and you say, well, he's not that fast. He doesn't have that much range. Well, it's not only that, it's knowing where to play so you don't have to go. So Cal Ripken wasn't that fast, but he got to everything because he played everybody in the right spot. And nowadays, of course, with the shift, God knows what kind of rules change there will be to outlaw or change shift rules. Like, you got to keep two infielders on each side of the field.
But a true Red Sox fan, they've got to be excited about the team, because there's ifs, but if they come through, and then if they get it, I'll tell you, if they pick someone like Maloney, I think the fans will really be happy.
Well, if the reality is that the manager doesn't make a 20-game difference in the team. Where they win 84 games last year, it wasn't great.
No, but they're used to listening to him after every game.
Right.
And they tune in, and he's really smart. I think he'd be a great coach.
So you do wonder what his future is going to be. Is he ever going to be able to get another job again, or is at best he's going to end up being, is at best is he going to be a bench coach? Because they don't want to put him in authority.
If nothing happens with the Red Sox, if they showed that he didn't do anything wrong with the Red Sox, people are going to look at it and say, well, for 2 years he was with the Red Sox. They won a World Championship. The next year they were down a little, but never problems with the Red Sox, so why wouldn't owners of other teams say?
Yeah, it's always interesting, which I haven't done yet, to go to other cities like Los Angeles, read the LA Times and see what the LA Times says. Well, I'm sure they're saying, well, we lost the World Series in 2017 and 18 because we got cheated.
What about the Yankees? How about the Yankees? They're up 3-2 over Houston. And they go back to Houston, and Houston's hitting the ball all over. That's the year.
All right.
Houston's hitting the ball all over the place. And it was amazing. The Yankees Stadium, they weren't doing anything. The Yankees beat them 2 games in a row to go up 3-2. They go back to Houston. Houston's hitting shots all over the place.
Well, you got a point.
And then the Yankees lost to the Red Sox when supposedly Cora was involved 2 years ago, don't forget. They lost to the Red Sox. But now they're saying that he may not have been involved in that with the Red Sox.
Well, everyone who's getting a free pass are the players. So none of the players were benefiting from this? They're not saying a word. Obviously, they've been probably told by management, just don't say anything.
But no one else, they come up with another stat that says that over the years, Houston has a better record away than they do at home. So how do you figure it?
Huh. Okay. Well, it'll be really fascinating to see how this plays out in the long run. And the sports writers are having a field day. But I really think it'll be interesting to see if any players are willing to come out on the record at all. What is fair to say, if you talk about, is trying to find a player who's willing to drop a dime on a former organization, trying to find a needle in a haystack? No, I think it's more like trying to find a needle in a needle stack, because so many of these guys are bitter because they got released, cut, their health wasn't addressed properly, whatever. So it's so easy to find disgruntled players in professional sports or disgruntled coaches.
They should let them all cheat.
Well,
Why not?
That's
Just
what I
let 'em
said.
cheat.
In the PED era, they could have just said, anybody can use anything. We're not going to have testing.
It's up to the teams to disguise, even in football. That Belichick thing years ago was a joke. That was a joke. You know, he knew other teams were doing it, so he did it. That's the reason why he did it. Probably Cora did it because he said everybody's cheating.
Well, it's hard to cheat in basketball. I mean,
But basketball's the biggest sport.
well, you have people who flop. Obviously, that's one thing. And you have players who are really dirty players like Chris Paul.
But they
guys
know
like
every
that.
play that they're running. Every team
Oh, yeah.
knows every play.
Yeah.
That they're letting them do whatever they want. They came out and said it. In basketball, they can all do it. They can do whatever. They can film everything. Call it the coach calling the plays. They can film all that. They don't care.
No. So.
But in baseball, so what? They're all doing it anyway. I mean, that's a little too much. But I mean, to suspend them for a year and to fire them, you know, three really good coaches.
Well, I think that Rob Manfred, the commissioner, might have painted himself into a corner because he really served up harsh discipline, and then now, like, I don't know if the Mets are going to get. The Mets probably won't get anything because Beltran hadn't assumed any game responsibility, so teams won't have to be worried about having it come down on them in the future. So, to me, it'd make more sense to make some technology that's kind of cheat-proof, just electronic devices between the pitcher and the catcher so that they can communicate without anybody seeing an overt signal. But even then, I suppose somebody's always going to work to intercept. Like I always say, the Patriots have the most efficient science department. People are always saying the other team's headphones are having trouble, or it's always something.
That whole thing with the Patriots is a joke. What did they actually do between Brady and Belichick? Brady's upset because the balls were weighing, 16, whatever it was,
Well,
and it should have been 14.2.
well, and supposedly,
He tells his men to make sure it's at the weight I want it to be, at the legal weight.
yeah, and Aaron Rodgers likes the balls to be overinflated.
16, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be right back. Well, the Patriots' coaching tree hasn't been too productive, but whatever their tree has accomplished, it seems to dull Bill Belichick's axe as Tennessee knocks out the Patriots in the first round, and the wild card once again proves to be Waterloo for the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, you watch Tennessee's 2 games against the Patriots and then beating Baltimore. Everything went right for them. I mean, the Patriots just handed them the game. Not getting in from the 1-yard line. On offensive lineman 5 yards down the field on a big pass in the second half. You got 3rd and 1, and you give it a handoff to your linebacker. He gets stopped. Another time, they had 3rd and 1. They get stopped. Then Edelman drops a pass.
Right, that was
biggest pass of his life.
Obviously that was worse than Welker. I mean, in the sense that he was wide open and.
I mean, any of us, if I threw you 100 passes that exact same way, you would have caught 100, all 100. I know what I would have caught. I would have caught all 100 passes. I mean, the pass is right here.
I know.
And it's not even that hard.
Right. It was just.
And they would have 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line.
But it was meant to not be for the Patriots because they just weren't good enough this year. Offensively, they just weren't productive. It's unfortunate. Now, let's also give credit to Derrick Henry, who must, the Ravens were saying, well, maybe you should stand there and tackle him. Well, obviously they had their chance the next week, and Henry ran over them. I mean, to me, he's probably the closest thing to Earl Campbell. Maybe not as fast as Earl Campbell, but when he's going downhill, he's really delivering some pain.
Yeah. I mean, the Patriots handled him well in the second half, except for the last drive when Belichick shouldn't have punted the ball. Should have went for it on 3rd and 6, on 4th and 6. Because here's the thing. What Belichick didn't realize is they were down a point. Okay? So if we go for it and don't make it, they get the ball at our 40, our 38-yard line. We hold them. They kick a field goal. We still beat them with a touchdown.
Right.
If that field goal would put them ahead by more than 8, then maybe you kick the ball away. But that field goal only would put them ahead by 4 if they stop the Patriots. Because people don't realize is you got to stop them on 3 downs anyway if you punt the ball. If you don't stop them on 3 downs, the game's over. Now, if you don't make it and they have it on your 38, you stop them on 3 downs. The best they can do is kick a long field goal. And if they miss it, you get good field position. So I have said for years, you need a special coach for special situations. Someone that could get in his ear and say, listen, Bill, we're down 1. A field goal, if we get stopped, we come back and score a touchdown, we win the game. It's not going to be a 2-score game. He didn't think that way, and he made a bad decision.
Well, one thing that's interesting comparing football to other sports, other industries really, if you talk about, let's say, I don't know if you saw the championship game, college. They had some of the greatest college football players of all time, Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, Roger Staubach. Football honors its greats from the past. The NFL, their 100 top players from the past. You'd have people like Red Grange, Otto Graham. Nobody says, oh, Otto Graham couldn't play in the NFL today. He was a stiff. But in the NBA, it's like, oh, Bill Russell, he was pretty good, but Joel Embiid's better than Bill Russell. I mean, that's just how the contemporary thinking is. You hear all this crazy talk that like a guy like Havlicek was a stiff, and everybody who can dunk is all of a sudden the greatest player in the history of basketball. So, you just don't hear that in any other industry except basketball. It's kind of odd. But the Patriots have a lot of turnover coming. Monty Austinfort, who's the director of college scouting, just below Nick Caserio, is interviewing for the Browns position at GM. Everybody says Caserio is going to be interviewing for Houston's GM, and O'Brien won't really have that authority anymore down there. And and then they've got tons of free agents ranging from run stoppers like Shelton to Van Noy. Slater will probably be back. I don't think he's going anywhere. He's probably going to be a coach longer term.
Well, Tooney's the big guy.
Yeah, and Tooney, of course.
Shelton's big.
Yeah.
Shelton had a good year.
But I don't know where who's taking up all the cap space. That's what I'm trying to figure out. If they only have $30 million.
Well, what if Brady goes? Where are they there?
I don't know. I don't know how much dead money he has due.
Well, they got to sign Tooney, and I'd like to see him have Shelton and let some of those linebackers go. You have Bentley who'll be back. I mean, you have Hightower. Maybe get another pretty good young linebacker.
Well, Collins is a free agent.
Unless he's not going to take the same money this year.
Well, the second half of the year, he really fell off for whatever reason. Again, we never know how hurt these guys are, and a lot of them are hurt. But they absolutely have to get some kind of reasonable facsimile of a tight end, because they had nothing from the tight end.
You have Devlin coming back. You have Andrews coming back. Gostkowski coming back. I mean, there's 3 big players right there.
Gunnar Olszewski.
Yeah. Well, he's a punt returner anyway.
Well,
he's probably the quickest guy in the team.
What's a bit mysterious is everyone says the receivers weren't that good. People have trouble getting on the same page. Now, maybe in some way they can't develop young receivers because they just can't get on the same page with Brady because of the system. And if they made the system simpler, maybe some of these guys would be more productive. I don't know. But that's going to be a substantial issue. But who is the receivers coach this year?
He's gone, right?
Joe Judge, right. If the receivers were a problem, why were the Giants in such a big hurry to hire Judge? So I don't get that. A lot of these guys must be talking a really good game, how, it's all about fundamentals and preparation and we're going to be tough on the field. All right, that's great. What football coach didn't say that?
And I think they need a new defensive coordinator. If Belichick's son's coaching that defense, he's useless.
Yeah, there wasn't really...
He's leaving the middle wide open a couple of times where they got burnt. Blitzing everybody and not having anybody covering the middle. Even Gilmore can't cover someone one-on-one in that situation.
Well, they got away with the cover zero stuff against some inexperienced quarterbacks. Yeah, bad teams. Now, we'll get back to the Patriots and the NFL, but you saw LSU really with a dominating performance against Clemson. I mean, LSU had their running back, I can never remember the guy's name, but terrific performance. Burrow was outstanding. He's going to be exceptional for the
He
Bengals.
throws the ball. He puts the ball right there.
Yeah.
Every pass is right there.
Now he's probably going to have the same line that LSU had, but still, I think Cincinnati fans have been waiting for a quarterback since Ken Anderson probably, and I'm sure they're going to be happy with Burrow. Well, what was the business about money going on the field? Was real money, not fake money? I don't really know. I guess there's some talk about Odell giving the players money. I don't know what that is really confirmed or not. But, I really like Trevor Lawrence, but he was kind of disappointing. He overthrew everybody in the second half.
Yeah, but it was a bad call. That touchdown pass he threw that would have made it 42-32. It started off as defensive pass interference, and they both pushed each other.
Yeah.
They called it off. That was a touchdown. There was 10 minutes to go in the game. That would have made it 42-32. Who knows from there?
Yeah,
it might have made it a lot better game.
It was one of those things where both, as you said, the defensive guy had been holding first and could have gone either way. Unfortunate. And then LSU losing the guy for targeting. I'm not saying it wasn't targeting. I think it was targeting. But it'll be interesting to see if that rule ever gets into the NFL.
I know. That's a tough rule.
It is.
Because sometimes it's not on purpose.
Right. The receiver.
Someone ducks, moves.
Exactly. So it's a hard call. And I'm sure the amount of money bet on the NFL dwarfs that on college football. So that's ultimately another determinant. Well, there were a lot of other interesting developments. Josh McDaniels got frozen out of a coaching job, and you got to feel it's his runaway bride act on Indianapolis that shut him down. People say we just don't want this guy.
Plus the offense this year, that had to be a big factor
right.
too.
So, but
some of his play calling was absolutely horrible. But
right, it's so predictable. If the Patriots are 2nd and 10. You can almost guarantee it's going to be a run because they want it to be 3rd and 5.
Well, when it's a run and it gets me sick, I would say maybe 27 out of 30 times when it's 2nd and short, he always runs. And at least half the time they get stopped. Now they have 3rd and they got to complete on 3rd. The time you go play action is when it's 2nd and short. Those linebackers are going to be coming up, especially if you fake the handoff. Then you got all that open field in the middle there. They never go play action on 2nd and short. I'm not a big fan of him either.
Who do you think is going to be I know you think Brady's. If it's not Brady, who do you think the quarterback will be?
Here's the way it's got to go if it's not Brady.
Okay.
If it's not Brady, their number 1 draft pick at 23
is Jalen Hurts.
Hurts.
Okay.
It's got to be Hurts because Hurts is going to be the closest to Watson and Jackson. He's going to be the closest talent-wise. He can run.
He's decent throwing.
He's very good throwing now because of the quarterback coach in Alabama.
Remember, he knows the game. His father's a football coach. So,
but I would take him and there's your quarterback. Stidman they're high on, but there's your quarterback right there. Guy who can run, move around in the pocket, get an extra second to throw.
Yeah, it sort of feels like there's a real shift in the quarterback play. You look at, obviously, Jackson somehow he's so elusive that he doesn't take big hits.
Well, what a job Tennessee did against them. Every time he tried to go outside, there was always a guy coming up, a back coming up, and someone from the inside. And they were hemming him in every time.
And they made him throw outside the numbers where he's not really throwing the long ball. He's not as good as he is throwing down the field.
But they were lucky to beat the Pats, though. They were so lucky.
But how often do you see a team Baltimore gain over 500 yards total offense and get 12 points?
To 300 something.
Yeah, it's usually I think of for every 100 yards of total offense, you should be able to generate a touchdown. But
I think in the Kansas City game, it's going to be something like 32-10 in that area.
Kansas City?
Yeah. I think they're going to be just too much for them.
Kansas City is so fast.
But you know what I would do is Tennessee's got pretty good cornerbacks. I would hit the tight end every time he came out. Hit him at the line of scrimmage.
Well, And who's the player that, I mean, I think Belichick would say, if you have to stop one guy on Kansas City, one receiver, who would it be?
It's what's his name?
Kelsey.
Kelsey.
Yeah, because he just
hit him every time. That's to be the number one job. He's split out or he's off the tackle, hit him.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. Do you think a guy like Vrabel would communicate with Belichick and say, Bill, we worked together for a long time. I'd be interested in your thoughts on this. Do you think they would?
No, because he's 100% away from the Patriots. He doesn't even want to talk about his years with the Patriots. It's now, him being the coach of Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. I don't think he would.
Well, it's one of Belichick's key defensive theme is to take away the number one threat, and we agree that Kelsey is
Vrabel
tremendous.
knows that though.
Yeah, no, but it's
He's
easy to
smart,
say.
Vrabel.
It's easy to say take it away. Do you put Logan Ryan on him?
He's had a real good year, Logan Ryan.
Was-
I wouldn't put Logan.
What happened to Butler? Is he hurt?
Butler's hurt.
Okay.
But I wouldn't put Ryan on him. You got to jam him at the line of scrimmage, and I would have a safety come up and cover him. He's
Yeah.
going to have to cover. Ryan's going to have to cover one of the
Well,
receivers.
Kansas City's assembled a team with just so much team speed that it's really tough. So we'll see if they can get enough pass rush to bother Mahomes.
It's going to be a fun game, though, with Henry. It's going to be a fun game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'd think that Tennessee will try to use the Giants strategy against the Buffalo Bills: control the ball, have time of possession greater than 35 minutes, keep Kansas City's offense off the field. I mean, it's easy to say that, harder to do that, but Henry is really a real bulldozer.
I want to see San Fran in the Super Bowl, though. Don't you want to see
Yeah,
that?
absolutely.
I want to see them against Kansas City. That'd be a heck of a matchup.
Yeah, as far as I didn't see the San Francisco game against Minnesota, but obviously
They're good. I mean, Garoppolo's not playing great. In every game, it seems like he throws a touchdown pass and he throws an interception. But he's making some good passes.
well,
He's good enough.
right. They're using him as a game manager
But
with
it's not because of him running.
no with an outstanding defense. I mean, they have a terrific
And talent
defense.
on offense. Good receivers.
I really enjoyed the Green Bay Seattle game, but I was disappointed. I sort of felt like Seattle, they should have gone for it, and rather than giving the ball back to the Packers. Because I mean, Seattle, I sort of feel like this might have been their last shot. I don't know. So, and we both like Kansas City over Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know what the spread is, but I don't think it's going to be close either.
It could be. It comes down to are they going to be able to run the ball as well as they have 3 games in a row of 180 yards?
Yeah.
So.
Well, if we look at other news around the league, the Cowboys finally got rid of Jason Garrett, which I don't know how he was holding on to his job for this many years, because it seems like they're always a disappointment in the NFL, in the NFC.
Oh, they like him. That's why they like him.
Oh, I'm sure he's a
Ownership
nice
liked
guy.
him, and he stayed when he probably did everything he asked him to do. But I mean, with that talent, it's a weird team. One time they look like they can go to Super Bowl. Next time they look terrible.
Yeah, their offensive line was so dominant through the years, and yet they always seem to come up short somehow. I mean, obviously not even making the playoffs.
Well, Belichick's got to pull a miracle this year. He's got to somehow get that team back, that offense back to where they were.
Well, Patriots, we've all been spoiled through the years by their success. So when they're struggling, it's so disappointing. But if you look at the Belichick coaching tree, obviously Vrabel has had some success. Flores is too soon to know what he's going to do in Miami. Losing to the Dolphins in Week 17 really hurt the Pats a lot.
It cost them. They'd be playing. Who knows? Because Tennessee wouldn't have been playing Baltimore. Baltimore would probably still be in it now.
Right.
Right now
So-
it'd probably be, if the Patriots didn't screw up, it'd be probably the Patriots against Baltimore.
Right. And then Patricia, obviously, it's been pretty much
He's gotta go.
It's been a
Maybe
disaster
they'll-
in Detroit.
Maybe they'll fire him and the Pats will pick him up as the defensive coordinator again.
That's possible. And then,
Let his son go back to coaching the cornerbacks.
We'll see. And the Giants, I'm not sure the Judge hiring was a spectacular hiring. We'll see. It feels like the Giants are not close to being good. And, the Patriots could have a dramatically different looking team next year. So,
well, the two players they got to get. They got to get the real good tight end, and they got to get a receiver. If they can do that and get a real good, then they'll be back.
Well, I think Brady won't be back, and I think that it might help the receivers because this offense where the receivers have to read what the defenders do at the same time Brady does. He's got a lifetime of experience, and these kids don't.
Okay, if you were in Vegas now, and
How many wins?
And you won $100,000 at the slot machine,
Okay.
and now they want you to bet is Brady coming back? It's going to be even money. You got $100,000 to throw on it. Is Brady coming back or not? What would you do?
No, I'd say no. I'll say he's not coming back.
Oh, how can you say that?
I think Belichick would like to try to win with somebody besides Brady, and because they are going to be up against the cap again. I think if you can get lucky with a low-cost quarterback, then that gives you a lot better chance to spend the money somewhere else.
The only way Brady's not coming back is if he retires. He's not going to another team. Where's he going to go? Tennessee?
I wouldn't be surprised. I would think the Chargers would be a viable option for him.
The Chargers. Tennessee, the 10% I'm saying would be because of Tennessee. Right there.
Yeah. I don't know what their commitment to Tannehill is.
And then if Tennessee gets beat, but it's a good game and Tannehill's terrible, and I'll go from 90% to 75%. The other 25% would be Tennessee, but no one else.
All right, we'll find out pretty soon. We'll be right back. We love basketball, and we were wondering if Walter McCarty had been reinstated at Evansville, Indiana University, because he was suspended for a murky charge of something like unprofessional conduct. So we can only guess that it wasn't, not handing out snacks at halftime. But the high school girls team has really had some tough breaks this season. First, Sam Dewey relocated to Brooks, where she's doing really well. Then Emily Hudson got injured and is out for the season. And now we hear that Maggie Sullivan was injured today at practice and has a hand injury. And that's yet another significant loss for them.
But we have Gia.
Right. Melrose played Belmont. Belmont was the Middlesex League champion last year. Now, Belmont's weakened because they had at least one transfer, as Maya Bergdorf went from Belmont to the St. Mary's super team. And, that's the way it's going these days in high school sports. Kids play in AAU and then they jump ship to another private school team. That's how it is. We understand that. But the team put in a great effort. They lost by 1 at the buzzer to Belmont. It was unfortunate because they had control of the game with leads throughout, 12-point lead in the first quarter at the end of 1, and they were up 7 at the end of the second and third quarters. But Belmont was able to come back at the end.
Yeah, to me, mental toughness is huge, Ron. You've got to be tough. When things get tough, you've got to be tough. You can't let it affect you. And in that game, Melrose let it affect them, the pressure of the game. And they made a couple of mental mistakes at the end. Hopefully they learned from it.
Right.
You got to think after that Woburn and Burlington game, those are two real good teams that did a pretty good job in Melrose. They came back with a very good first half against Belmont. They took the lead with 10 seconds to go. And, they made a mistake on defense, and it cost them the game.
Yeah, one thing that we know from coaching and watching basketball for a really long time is if you lose containment of the ball, bad things always happen. You're either going to give up a layup or you're going to have to slide over and help, and then that's going to open somebody up for an easy shot. So containing the ball is so important. And then the second problem that all coaches deal with is turnovers. And Melrose struggles with turnovers against Belmont, a good team. And the best high school teams will have turnovers in the 12 to 15 range. And when you're getting up in the mid-20s, then you got problems, because that's so many opportunities you don't have to score. Every time you turn the ball over, you lose a valuable possession.
Well, I see it with Melrose. I was high on them after the summertime and in fall. They worked hard, and I thought they would. I mean, some of them have other sports, so they weren't as committed as some other players. But you saw them coming along, and I predicted people were worried that they probably wouldn't win 4 games all year because of the talent they lost. But you have talent, inexperienced talent, that if it comes together, and it was coming together in the summer, but then the season ends. There's no more league. The girls go off to play other sports. I said if they could have stayed together for one more 10-game league, they would have got to that level. But they're not at the level of the real good teams. They're not at the level of the good teams. But they're at the level of the pretty good teams, the fair
Right.
teams. And that's why they're 4-5, and they should have won the last game. But you hope that they have 11 more games to go. You hope they keep improving. Some teams, they get down on themselves, and things, they don't get better. But I think this group's going to keep working hard, especially with Gia now, the freshman.
Right.
She's going to be a big help to them. And their next 5 games, they can win. They can go 4-1 in their next 5 games if they really stay together and work hard.
Right.
But that was a tough loss.
One thing I struggle with is a parent had come up to me and said, whenever you're running a special situations play, sideline out of bounds play, baseline out of bounds play, after timeout call, you're getting a really good shot and often scoring. And I said, I understand that, but I want to emphasize to kids how to play basketball, not just run plays. So I don't want, we've gone to, remember we went up to Governor's Academy. Every single time down the floor, the coach is running out of set. He must have run 20 sets, and must have ended up with his daughter shooting the ball on 19 of them. Yeah. But kids have to learn how to play, how to move without the ball, how to screen, how to know when to cut, when to go front cut, back cut, read defenses, read screens, those sorts of things. And it makes it so much easier for them to be successful at the next level. And it's hard. It's a hard game to learn. It takes a lot of time. So there's this balance between wanting to run set plays that, players don't have to create as much. They have to execute but not create, versus giving them more freedom, which can work out but may or may not, depending on the experience of the players.
Yeah, and you can't let teams dictate to you. You can't let them that happen. A lot of times what's happening is the mental approach to the game is being affected, and teams are dictating to you, and you're defensive-minded. You don't even want to handle the ball anymore sometimes. You could see that. And instead of saying, okay, I'm going to take it to you. You come at me, I'm going to come at you even harder. I'm not going to back down from you. And at times, you see that get to them, affect them. I see it in games, when they're playing the real good teams. It's affecting their mental approach to the game, and it really hurts the team. I think they just got to go out there and play the game. David, I've said all along, you got to go out there and do things that are positive for the team. Not just be out there and say, I don't want to do anything negative for the team. Right. I want to do things positive for the team.
Right. It's so easy when you're learning to play or developing experience to feel like, well, I don't know if I can take this girl on a dribble, so I'm not going to try. And conversely, when you're on defense, you can't have the attitude, well, I have to play off the girl because she's going to beat me on the dribble. Well, that's just making the assumption all the time that your opponent is better than you are. I mean, you have to go in with the mindset that, no, I'm going to dominate. I'm going to take this player to the rack. I'm going to stop her, and if I can't stop her, I'm still going to get help. So it's a hard mindset for young players.
But it's funny too, it would maybe start really thinking, I'm a fan, I'm a big fan of that team, of those girls.
Well, we've coached, between the two of us, we've coached almost all of them.
So I go to work and we're talking, and I'm talking to one of the girls in work, and I'm telling them about the game. And she looks at me and says, you think the girls on the team are as upset as you are about them losing that game? And then I started thinking, I say, I hope they're more upset than I am. I mean, I'm not upset at them. I'm upset that they didn't get to 5 and 4, feel good about themselves, about being a team that was number 3 in the state last year, and then going from there. But, Hopefully they're over it and they're working hard in practice and
I
they come
mean,
back against
47
Wilmington.
years ago, probably around this time, we lost to Lexington, who'd won 3 state championships in a row in our senior season by 2 points at the end of the game. And Sonny Layton, who was the coach of Wakefield at the time, he slammed the door of the team room shut. He yelled at us for I can't even remember how long. And he said, there's only one reason you lost this game tonight. He said, it's because it said Lexington on their shirts. And he said, we're never losing to Lexington again. And so anyway, later in the season, we all left. Apparently he slammed the door again and the door jammed and he couldn't get out of the locker room. He had to climb out of the windows above the lockers to get out of the locker room. But we beat Lexington at Lexington by 18 later in the season and in Boston Garden in the sectional finals. But you have to believe in yourself, but you have to have the game to back it up. And these kids have some talent. It's not like they don't know how to play basketball.
They're competing.
They're playing hard, but they don't have a lot of size right now. I mean, that's...
Well, their center, I said 5'6", but poor Sophia, what you said she's 5'4"?
Yeah, I don't think Sophia can be much over 5'4". She can really jump.
Forget jumping, she's involved in everything.
No, Sophia and Adriana, her sister, are both extraordinarily tough, hard-nosed players who, constantly will battle you. And they've got a really scrappy, small team that have 2 freshman centers that have some size and rebounding capabilities. So I don't think all things are lost. They can come back from this.
The future doesn't look bad.
No.
If you have Chloe and Gia work this summer, 2 freshmen, big girls.
Right.
I mean, they're up around 5'10" or 5'11".
Right.
And they're working. I'll tell you, Gia right now can go up against most of the centers in the league. Right now, 2 games into her,
Yeah,
season.
they're physical enough and they're big enough that they can compete.
And they have talent all around. They just got to come together. And they cannot let the other team affect their game at times. They have to be mentally tough, and they got to say, we're going to go into this game. We're not going to be great in just the first quarter, second quarter. We're going to be even better when they come after us and try to trap us. We're going to beat the trap. We're going to take it to them. They have to go in with that mental approach. And, you never know what will happen. Maybe they'll win the next 5 in a row.
I'm going to have real trouble getting this. Do you think they're as upset as you are about the game thing out of my head? That's probably going to affect me the rest of the season for my team. The Celtics still have a decent record. They're 3rd in the East behind the Bucks, who are a really powerhouse to play tonight. Miami, who's been playing really solid. I really like Eric Spoelstra as a coach. And last night the Celtics didn't have Tatum. They didn't play a very good game, but we'll see how it goes. Are Tyson Cantor enough?
I don't know. I was sitting right there. I was at the game last night with my 6-year-old grandson, his first game. It was funny. At halftime, I go, you all said? He goes, yeah. Can we just get some popcorn? So I got him some popcorn. Then, like at the end of the 3rd quarter, I said, he goes, Coach, he says, he calls me Coach. He goes, I want to stay the whole game. Because we're like 9 rows up from the floor. Okay. So after the game, we went right on the floor. I took some pictures of it. But I'm watching the game. I couldn't get as upset as I normally would, because he's sitting there with me.
Sure.
I wanted him to have a fun experience. But Smart has to go. He has to go. They got to make a trade. Get rid of Smart and get rid of Tatum. You can get someone big. You can get someone really good, because they're not mentally tough. All Tatum wants to do is get his 20 points so he can make his $30 million next year. He can have somebody wide open in the corner. They're not going to get the ball. If he makes his mind up that he's going to shoot.
For Smart and Tatum, you should be able to get Karl Anthony Towns.
Maybe. I would make that deal. And then they got to get a new coach.
Yeah, see, I don't
I've told you 2 years ago when everybody said he's the best coach in basketball, when they were successful, and I said, there's a lot of things that I see out there that he's not coaching well.
One of the really interesting things is they've been comparing the Nets record with and without Kyrie Irving and the Celtics record with and without Kyrie Irving. And it seems like both teams have been more successful when he's not playing than when he is.
They're not able to play their game with Kyrie, And when Smart's out there on offense, I told you before, he thinks he's as good offensively as he is defensively. And he controls the game too much when he's out there. You know, and there are games like Tatum, to me, he's not consistent, but there are games he has big games. You know, you don't want Smart coming in and interrupting that with Brown and Hayward. Now, Hayward was having a great game yesterday, right? Smart comes in the game, he's got to control the ball. You know, Tatum wants the ball. One time, Tatum standing there wide open doesn't get him the ball.
Did you see
Hayward,
Did you see the play where Brown made the crossover and left the guy in the dust and then dunked on him?
Yeah.
That was something. I mean, people really underestimated how good Brown was. I mean, he said he can't shoot. I mean, he's shooting up near 40% on threes. He's so athletic. I mean, to me, he deserves All-Star before Tatum does.
Oh, way before Tatum. Way before Tatum. Tatum is there just to get his points. Some games he looks great. That'll carry him. You know, 1 or 2 real good games out of 10 will carry him forward. You know, and then out of, you know, maybe 5 games he's okay. 3 games he's terrible. He shoots 5 for 20 or whatever. Still gets 15, 16 points. But that carries him. You know, I think this is the perfect time to trade him. If not, they got to go with him. And there's going to be games where he's really good and games when he's not. But Stevens is the one who I'm really upset at. Now, here's the best thing. There are 2 things about Stevens. Number one, he doesn't teach defending the pick and roll, the pick and pop well. Okay, they always have big times. But his substitution patterns are terrible. Last night's game, he takes Walker out with 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. You know when Walker gets back in the game? Now, Walker starts off pretty good. He hits like 4 shots. You know what? When he got back in this game, 4 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Well, that wasn't good.
He's out 10 minutes of game minutes.
So did he have Smart and Wanamaker in?
Yeah, he had Wanamaker and Smart, and then what's his name, Langford in.
Oh,
and then, so he's out 10 minutes. So I go to the fan beside me, this guy. I said, Walker's been out 10 minutes. He goes, oh, that's great. He's getting rest. I said, it's great. I said, they're down 4. If he was in the game, they'd probably be up 8. And then Hayward has a great 5 for 6 in the first quarter, playing really good. He plays the whole first quarter, sits him out 8 minutes. So Hayward and Walker both sat out the first 8 minutes of the second quarter.
Well, he was probably trying to finesse it, give low minutes, and then playing back-to-back against Milwaukee.
Run. You're not even thinking about Milwaukee. You're not even thinking about the Milwaukee game. You're thinking about that game, and you got to win that game. That's what he said after the game when people asked him that question. I was ripped during the game sitting there.
Did he say he was thinking about Milwaukee?
Yeah, he said, well, no, he says it's a long year and I want to make sure they're rested. Number one, they're both in their, late 20s, early 30s. I mean, they could play just about every day if they had to. In that game there where you knew it was going to be a tough game against Detroit right from the beginning, Detroit was on, he has them sitting down. So instead of being down 4, they probably would have been up 10.
So I was really surprised that looking at the statistics in the league today, who do you think leads the league in assists per game? It's not an easy question.
Per minute?
No, just per game.
Probably LeBron.
It is. LeBron James, 10.9 assists per game. I mean, that's really phenomenal for a guy who's, a premium scorer. And
he handles the ball every time down.
And then Trae Young is in the top 4 of both scoring and assists.
He's real good.
Yeah, he is real good.
He's going to be really good.
And Doncic is another guy he's third in both scoring and assists. So it's good because there's going to be young players to watch going forward who are really talented. And what gets me is people say, like, well, Doncic, he's not really athletic. Well, he scores, he rebounds, he assists. Like, what is he not doing? Can he not dunk pretty enough?
He's like Larry Bird.
Yeah, he is. He's like Larry Bird.
Quicker than Larry Bird. He's way ahead of you mentally. Everything he does is right on. He's never out of control. He can shoot. His footwork is unreal.
Well, that's why this whole talk about people aren't athletic enough is a bunch of baloney. It's whether you can help your team win, make the people around you better. That's the ultimate measure of a player. So overall, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. The Bruins are kind of struggling. They cannot win a shootout. They cannot score in a shootout. It's just amazing how you have these really terrific players like Marchand and Pasternak and Bergeron, they just can't score in the shootouts.
They'll get going. They'll go through a spurt where over 20 games they'll win 18.
And Rask has a concussion, so it'll be up to Halak to come through. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching tonight. I've enjoyed being with you. I'm Ron Sen.
And I'm Ralph LaBella, and thank you for watching Let's Talk Sports.